Now on CoastTV News.
This Ocean City business saw a 20% drop in revenue this year. The owner says he might know why. Trucks still driving through downtown Millsboro, why some say the new bypass is not doing its job. And a demonstration in Rehoboth Beach today. Hundreds of people putting on their hazard lights to remember Renee Good.
And we're about to have a serious about face with the temperatures. They've already tanked so much that we're 31 degrees colder now than we were this time just yesterday.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Measles in Maryland. Tonight, a warning from state health officials. Good evening. I'm Christina DeRobertis. Thank you for staying up with us after Sunday Night Football. It's our top story tonight. If you traveled on the Northeast Regional Amtrak or Baltimore Airport shuttles last week, listen up. Maryland's Department of Health says someone with a confirmed case of measles was traveling those routes while infectious. That's late January 7th until early January 8th. If you were on the train from Philadelphia to D.C. or on the BWI shuttles during that time, you could be at risk. Officials say you should check your vaccination status and watch for symptoms like fever, cough, or a rash, and call your doctor before going out in public. We do have more information on what to do if you think you were exposed at coasttv.com. Well, a number of restaurants in Ocean City say their revenue went down when comparing 2025 to 2024. And Coast TV News reporter Kevin Zappe shows us how one Ocean City business owner is handling that drop in revenue.
Others Cantina has been a restaurant in Ocean City for 19 years, but in 2025, the business saw a 20% drop in revenue compared to 2024.
It was a tough pill to swallow, I'll be honest.
Brian James, the owner of the Mother's Cantina, says other business owners he has spoken with have also seen their numbers drop, even as occupancy in town has increased. According to the Ocean City Tourism Report, hotel occupancy has seen an increase between the months of April and August when comparing 2025 to 2024. James believes the drop in revenue is not just impacting Ocean City, but businesses across the country.
People have less disposable income now, so the first thing that they cut out when they go out for the weekend, or they come to their second home, or they come down here for a week's vacation, is going out and spending a lot of money in bars and restaurants.
With years of experience and training, James says he was able to cut costs and make adjustments to keep his business going.
My heart goes out to the restaurants that don't have those tools and that couldn't do that, because they're probably hurting right now.
I'm Kevin Zappe, Ocean City, Coast TV News.
Staying in Ocean City now, Country Calling is cutting back in 2026, dropping from a 3-day festival to a 2-day festival, removing the shows on Sunday. Country Calling now is going to run Friday and Saturday in October, and the change could impact the number of overnight stays and the spending that typically carries into the start of the week there.
It's going to be a great lineup. I will tell you that it will be first class, and our hotel community, we're prepared to to continue the push for keeping people here longer or coming earlier.
Town officials tell us the decision was made by the Country Calling promoter, C3 Presents. Now to Milford, where several projects are underway at the Milford Corporate Center. That's at Route 14 and Canterbury Road. Phase 1 of the center, which broke ground in March 2025, is now expected to be completed by early summer. Leaders say the project is expected to bring new jobs and opportunities to Milford, and officials are calling 2026 a pivotal year for the city.
We're looking for our residents to be able to live here, stay here, work and play here. So if we can keep all of that in our community and keep the local economy boosting, that's what we're looking for with this project.
City officials tell us they also plan to review zoning and land use rules to expand housing and improve affordable housing in Milford. The Millsboro bypass has been open for about 4 months now. It was designed to lighten the traffic load in the area, but many people in Millsboro tell Coast TV that trucks are still driving right through the town's main streets instead of using the bypass. Coast TV reporter Nicole Richter spoke with some people about whether that multi-million-dollar investment is delivering the intended results.
trucks still rolling through downtown Millsboro. A sight and sound many people say they notice every day, even with the new bypass open.
Trucks definitely need to be diverted.
People who live and work downtown say the heavy traffic brings more than just noise. They say strong odors are making the area less appealing.
My problem with it is the chicken trucks in particular, because of the businesses that we have here. Most of them are food oriented, and you have chicken trucks coming through here that smell terribly.
And Kim Barton, who works at Nectar, says the trucks are hurting business.
I think it bothers our customers when they're in here because they're trying to eat a good meal and they're seeing chickens. And they know the chickens are going on their last ride, right? So I think it kind of hurts us.
According to DelDOT, the bypass was built to ease traffic and move trucks away from downtown.
It's really important that this town develop as the other towns to become a destination. And the only way we can do that is to get rid of the trucks from downtown.
Some people even say the impact hasn't lived up to the expectations.
The town's still the same. It hasn't changed with that whole $1 million, $1 billion construction that they did. And spending all that money on that is a waste because they're still coming through here.
Until then, people are left waiting to see whether the bypass will deliver the relief they say they were promised.
I spoke with Millsboro Police Chief Moyer today, and he says he's been speaking with DelDOT about trucks like this one driving through downtown Millsboro, but they say they both plan to keep collecting data throughout the spring and summer in order to make any permanent changes. In Millsboro, I'm Nicole Richter, Coast TV News.
Protests continued across the country this weekend, including today in Rehoboth Beach. You can see a line of cars with their hazards on driving through Rehoboth and Lewis in remembrance of Renee Nicole Good. If you don't know, Good was shot and killed by an ICE agent on Wednesday in Minneapolis. And the protest today was run by Indivisible Southern Delaware. Cars showing some words of support as they drove by. Police were there helping with traffic as well.
Right now, I think they're coming up into towns where they're not wanted, in states where they're not wanted, and there seems to be generating a lot more violence than what they're preventing.
The line of cars started about 2:30 p.m. in Lewis and ended around 5 p.m. in Rehoboth Beach. Meanwhile, a top Trump official says hundreds more federal officers will be arriving in Minneapolis today and tomorrow after that deadly ICE shooting. NBC's Maggie Vespa is there.
Tonight, dramatic new video of Minneapolis residents confronting federal immigration officers in neighborhoods.
Make home, make home, make home, make home.
As they appear to make more arrests.
Get off the street, let us clear out, get off the street.
This as the Trump administration vows to send hundreds more immigration officers to Minneapolis.
We're sending more officers today and tomorrow. They'll arrive.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you.
It comes days after ICE officer Jonathan Ross was caught on multiple cameras shooting and killing 37-year-old Renee Good behind the wheel of her SUV. Protests continuing outside the local ICE headquarters today and across the country, from New York to Atlanta to California. Back in Minnesota, this exchange going viral.
You should get a real job. Have you ever thought about getting a real job?
Shame on you.
Listen, have y'all not learned from the past couple of days? Have you not learned?
Learned what? What's our lesson here? What do you want us to learn?
Following federal agents.
Give me my phone back. No, you can't take my phone.
We've asked DHS for comment on this. Today, border czar Tom Homan telling NBC's Kristen Welker on Meet the Press, Ross fired in self-defense.
I truly believe this officer, in his mind, thought his life was in danger, which allows him to use lethal force.
Minnesota's Democratic Senator Tina Smith accusing the Trump administration of lying about what videos of the shooting show.
I think what we are seeing here is the federal government, Kristi Noem, Vice President Vance, Donald Trump, attempting to cover up what happened here in the Twin Cities. And I don't think that people here and around the country are believing it.
Meanwhile, Minneapolis mourns.
How exhausted is Minneapolis by grief and by tragedy right now.
I don't know how much more we can take. I mean, it's at its breaking point, you know. I'm sure there's many more faces that needs to be up here on this wall.
Also tonight, growing reaction to the possibility of U.S. military action in Iran. NBC's Julie Sirkin has that story.
Tonight, President Trump weighing a range of options in Iran after declaring the U.S. stands ready to help Iranians who are flooding the streets, protesting the government. 3 U.S. officials with knowledge of conversations tell NBC News the president has been presented with preliminary plans, from potential strikes to other options that would not include military action. So far, the Pentagon has not moved major assets to the region. President Trump would first need to make a difficult decision, though he ruled out putting boots on the ground.
Whatever action we're going to take, Mr. President, needs to embolden the protesters and scare the hell out of the regime. If I were you, Mr. President, I would kill the leadership that are killing the people.
But not everyone is on board for a military move in Iran.
But I don't know that bombing Iran will have the effect that is intended.
The top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Panel also warning U.S. intervention in Iran could backfire.
I think when we mess with the internal dynamics of a country like Iran, which is extraordinarily complex, we ought to do that carefully.
After striking Venezuela 1 week ago, President Trump has also threatened military action in Colombia and Mexico, and overnight urged Cuba to make a deal before it is too late. And he's eyeing Greenland as his next target, warning of a U.S. takeover, instructing his top officials to meet with Danish counterparts in the coming days.
It would be the end of NATO, right? I mean, NATO would have an obligation to defend Greenland.
And as Nicolas Maduro, Venezuela's former regime leader, sits in a New York City jail cell, President Trump is pushing oil executives for a $100 billion investment and is gearing up to meet face-to-face with opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, expected in Washington this week.
Taking a look at our expectation, we have gale wind warnings that are active for our area, but it's not the wind that's going to be the problem, it's the plummeting temps.
And after that, a highly anticipated county council meeting this week. The future of a major Sussex County development could be decided. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just 60 seconds.
Well, the forecast for this week is really kind of interesting because, you know, we've been dealing with very blustery conditions for it today. The winds have been, as my grandmother would say, been cutting up, okay? But it's the temperatures that's going to cut up, particularly Thursday going to Friday, to the point where we may have to deal with some, I'll just show you. How about I leave it like that? Okay, so take a look live right now in Rehoboth. Winds have died down just ever so slightly, but it's just kind of chilly outside. Not unbearable chilly, but a lot colder than we were. We are 31 degrees cooler now than we were 24 hours ago at this exact same time. Yeah, so we're at 35 right now in Milton, as well as Georgetown, Laurel, Seaford, Delmar, Gumboro, Salisbury, as well as Willards, and even Ocean Pines and Indian River Inlet. Now, just kind of get a feel. We had a high today of 61. That was at midnight, basically, and then we've been pummeling since. We dropped all the way down to 35 degrees. Whoa, that was going to happen one day. This is the day it happened. Anyway, we're looking at gale wind warning staying in effect for us. Lewis, Rehoboth, down for Ocean View, as well as Fenwick Island. That's going to be the case throughout the entire Delmarva Peninsula because it's just going to stay really breezy until, you know, Monday morning. And it's really breezy right now, staying very breezy with 40 to 45 mile per hour winds. And it's also going to start getting, well, a little bit achy for folks by the time we get to Thursday. You see, we're going to have high pressure dominating our weather for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But by the time we get to Thursday, we're going to have an ache alert. Now, somebody, one of our folks that are behind the scenes asked me this question, what does this mean? Well, when you have low pressure in place, if you have arthritis, particularly in your joints really much, you can feel when it's about to rain. That's a legitimate thing because low pressure around you causes the internal pressure of your body to expand. And so that's why you feel the rain about to arrive because your joints react to it if you have either a bad knee from an injury or you have arthritis. Somebody wanted me to explain that, so there you go. 43 for the high. for Cambridge as well as Vienna, and going into Snow Hill. And we have the potential of freezing because we're going to have 2 cold days, Monday or Tuesday, but really it's Friday and Saturday where the cold kicks really back in. You see, Monday we're going to start off in the 30s, end up in the 50s, same holds true for Tuesday going into Wednesday. And so for the last 31 days, we've been on average a lot cooler than a lot warmer. We're going to add a few more cooler days this week. And the winds are coming in force for Thursday going into Friday. And Thursday and Friday is going to be that thing that I left you hanging a little bit earlier than the newscast. Well, that's because here's what we're looking at. Thursday at 2 o'clock, we have rain that's going to start coming through, right? And then the back end of that is snow. Thursday night when you go to sleep, Friday morning when you wake up, you're going to wake up to a blanket of snow. But it's not going to be a whole lot because it's not going to stick around for a long period of time, but it's going to be enough to actually have an impact, and we should see this round of snow. That being said, here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Now, I'm calling for cold, and I'm calling for rain, but we're looking for a high of 39 degrees. But get this, Thursday night going into Friday, we drop to 22, and that's when the rain will change over to snow, but it'll stop by the time Friday morning shows up. So that's why I needed to explain this 7-day forecast, because all in all, it's still going to be cold, Christina.
Yes, it is. Thank you for explaining, Paul. We appreciate it. Well, plans for a Costco, Target, and more on Route 24 will be up for discussion in Sussex County Council this week. The county officially closed their record on the massive Atlantic Fields project last week. The project would turn more than 70 acres off of Mulberry Knoll Road into a huge commercial space. We are expecting a potential vote from council members this Tuesday. Also happening on Tuesday, Millsboro police are holding a Stuff the Cruiser food drive. That's January 13th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Community members can fill a patrol car with non-perishable food items. All of the items donated will be distributed to local food pantries. And this week in Delaware is Agriculture Week, the annual event running from January 12th until the 15th at the Delaware State Fairgrounds in Harrington. It brings together farmers, industry experts, and vendors for educational sessions. Also, they give updates on things like poultry and produce in the state. Most of the sessions are free to attend, but some require registration. Still to come on CoastTV News, expensive worms. Yeah, you heard that right. Why the value of these little squiggly creatures has skyrocketed. Delaware has released its 2025 Climate Action Plan. It's a guide to reduce emissions, strengthen resilience, and protect communities. The plan focuses on rising temperatures, sea levels, and extreme rainfall. Some parts of the plan include the state providing towns with technical assistance to incorporate climate change into planning efforts, also assess the need for an industrial-scale composting facility here in Delaware. Well, this next story is quite interesting, I think. Worms are becoming more expensive. Prices have nearly quadrupled in the last 7 years due to climate change and demand. Kyle Simchuk has more on why the prices have climbed.
At the Arizona worm farm in Phoenix, millions of red wigglers are busy doing what they do best, building healthy soil. Owner Zach Brooks says in just 7 years, their value has skyrocketed.
In the 7 years that I've actively been producing worms, the price of worms has gone from $12 a pound to $45 a pound.
Brooks says climate change, intensive farming, and habitat loss are cutting into worm populations, while demand is surging as farmers shift towards sustainable, regenerative agriculture.
Worms poop microbes, bacteria and fungi and nematodes. Those are the microorganisms that convert what's in your soil into food for your plants.
To help meet the growing need, Brooks hosts the annual Worm Business Conference, now in its 4th year. This week, 50 worm farmers from across the country, from Hawaii to Maine, gathered in Phoenix to learn commercial breeding techniques and production best practices.
Every worm I make to sell gets sold. And every worm casting that I make to sell gets sold. You know, it's a product that's proven. Everyone who uses it comes back to buy more.
Taylor Lyons Vaughn runs a recycling worm farm in Louisiana, collecting paper and food waste from restaurants and grocery stores to feed her operation. She came to Arizona to learn how to farm more efficiently and to connect with others in the industry, including Eric Brunchweiler from Maine.
Really interesting to see the variety of people that are here from all different backgrounds, and just seeing people from so many different perspectives and backgrounds all come together over the same thing, which is, growing really good food in a sustainable way.
The Arizona Worm Farm produces 100,000 new worms a week. Brooks hopes conferences like these can help boost worm production nationwide.
This is our 4th year, so we've had 200 farms here. And so there's 25 or 30 farms now across the U.S. that learned how to do what they're doing here. And so we're seeing the quantity of available worms go up.
There is a shortage, and we're happy to help. Every city, we're hoping, could have a worm farm.
Coming up after the break here on Coast TV, a record-setting win for ski racing legend Lindsey Vonn. Why her latest victory is turning heads ahead of the Winter Olympics. But first, 15 million flu cases and counting. Why health officials say the youngest children are at the highest risk. That's next on Coast TV. January is National Blood Donor Month, and the Blood Bank of Delmarva is urging the community to step up. The blood bank says donations often drop this time of year due to illnesses, busy schedules, also the weather. And the Blood Bank of Delmarva currently has about a 3 to 4 day supply, but they like to keep a full week supply on hand. EMS vehicles and Delaware State Police aviation units are now carrying whole blood throughout the entire state, so demand is really growing.
Blood is perishable, blood is precious, so it's important that we get that on a regular basis. But even if you have an isolated opportunity, give blood, you'll help someone.
There are donor centers open year-round, including one in Dagsboro, and another blood drive is coming to Ocean City later this month. In your health news tonight, flu cases are high across the country. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates there have been more than 15 million cases this season. It's the worst season for respiratory illnesses since at least 1997 to 1998. Many healthcare professionals warn illnesses are likely to climb. Jen Sullivan is tracking the latest data.
Each night, toys are sanitized as employees at this daycare center in Des Moines, Iowa, try and fight off germs as flu cases in their area surge.
We mop the infant room floor twice every night, once with just warm water and once with a sanitation.
Nicole Scatino-Talley is the director of the Angelique Christiani Child Development Center. Some of the children here are infants and aren't eligible for the flu vaccine yet. It's recommended for 6 months and older. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says children under the age of 2 are at a particularly high risk of developing serious complications from the flu, which is why employees here are taking extra precautions. But this is a nationwide problem. Flu cases across the country have skyrocketed, topping an estimated 15 million. This map from the CDC shows multiple states experiencing high or very high levels of the flu. Roughly 180,000 people have been hospitalized and 7,400 have died. Most of the cases are from a severe strand of influenza A known as subclade K.
This subclade K, which is a new strain that probably is not included in the current vaccine.
Many healthcare professionals are worried cases will continue to rise.
The flu vaccine absolutely prevents severe illness, prevents hospitalizations.
The CDC estimates 130 million doses of the vaccine have been distributed nationwide this season, but that covers less than 40% of the U.S. population. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Sticking with health for a moment, an at-home alternative to the Pap smear is now available. Women can now take a self-administered HPV test, according to recommendations released on Monday by the Health Resources and Services Administration. It is available to those between the ages of 30 and 65 with an average risk of cervical cancer. The test detects human papillomavirus with a plastic tube that swabs for cells, and those cells can be examined in a lab. Insurance companies must adhere to the new screening guidelines by the start of next year. Ski racing legend Lindsey Vonn won another World Cup downhill Saturday in Austria. The 41-year-old and three-time Olympic medalist took her second World Cup victory this season. She is the oldest skier ever to win a World Cup race, and Vonn doing all this after about 5 years away from the sport due to injuries. But after a partial knee replacement, she has returned and is now looking like a contender for multiple medals at the Winter Olympics next month. And don't forget, the Winter Olympics run February 6th until the 22nd. You can watch only here on CoastTV. Coming up after the break, as we take a live look into Ocean City, we have a final check on your forecast. CoastTV News continues in just a moment. The MLK Weekend Dream Fest is returning to Ocean City. The event brings families together for 3 days of music, arts, and entertainment to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy. The first day kicks off with a performance from the Pointer Sisters at the Ocean City Performing Arts Center. That's at 7 p.m. And Dream Fest 2026 kicks off next Thursday. It runs until January 17th in Ocean City.
So we take a look outside in Dover at this present time, and we're looking pretty quiet for right now. Winds have still been a little bit active, but it's not showing so much for a live depiction of what's going on in Dover. Now, we've had some gale wind warnings that have been issued around the entire Delmarva Peninsula. So look for blustery conditions to continue, at least until in the early morning hours for Monday. Here's a look at Monday. Generally speaking, winds are pushing out of the west between 16 to up to 20 miles per hour with an occasional wind gust up to like 25 to 30 in most locations. Abundance of sunshine for Lewis, Rehoboth Beach, and Dewey Beach. A little bit cloudier for the folks Bethany Beach as well as Ocean City. Now, here's a look at your, you can call our weather line. Your forecast is just a call away, sponsored by the law offices of Brockstead, Mandalis, and Federico. And here's a look at your 10-day forecast.
Alrighty, thank you again, Paul, and thanks to you for staying up with us tonight after Sunday Night Football. You can always find more news and weather. Just download our Coast TV News app, and we'll see you in just a few hours for Coast TV News Today at 5 a.m. Have a great night.